Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Dior, and this is Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 19. Alright, for those who are not keeping up, I did finally change up the box. I am doing something that's very much out of my field of experience, which is doing something with no tanks and very few healers. No more tank pushing, no more trying to do assassination sniping. We're just going to go all-in rush, potentially with mostly AoE. This was our first go-around. This is also the first week where Anya has been out, which her special ability is to get banned, which is what I did immediately. So let's go ahead and talk about our opponent first. It was a nice kind of test case here because it was mostly just a tank push box for the most part. It looks like to be 3 tanks, and oh yeah, she actually has. This guy actually has a holy Bright Summoner. So yeah, 3 healers, 3 tanks. And then the rest of it is kind of just a mixture of a lot of the standard meta units. Nothing really too out there. I mean, there's some AoE, some single target. It's kind of just a mix box, which is usually something I'm strong against anyway. But as for my box itself, no tanks whatsoever. Technically, I can make Polyol into a physical tank, but that's not really what she's there for. Essentially, I have my primary damage dealers in the forms of AoE or possibly doing some single target. And I generally favored those that can initiate on their own. And then I included some characters that can provide their own initiation or help bolster other characters. So, for example, Polyol can help with the covering a lot of ground. We got Akaya here who can buff everyone and increase everyone's mobility. SGN's mainly here just for some support, but she can hit a single target if need be. We've got Arankelma to kind of help with also some more shenanigans with her portals. And then the rest of it's kind of also just some characters that can try to hinder the opposing forces to try to avoid getting rushed myself. So characters like Awakened One, Arankelma, of course, portals can also hinder mobility. And everything else is pretty straightforward. Anya is pretty much here. She does have AoEs, but she's mainly there because she can copy either one of my units or one of the opposing units and do a lot of shenanigans with that as well. As for any sort of healing, Anya is a healer. Technically, Bright Summoner can heal in a pinch. And Mariandel can also do some passive healing. Though mainly she's just there because she can get some pretty big range and span once she gets her stacks up. And it's very easy to get her stacks up. I definitely wanted characters that didn't require very much setup. Because obviously nowadays the meta is if you're not ready turn 1, you're going to probably get overwhelmed first. And losing initiative in this meta is just pretty bad. Any case, I went ahead and banned Anya first, and my opponent did the same. So don't expect to ever see Anya in play. If for whatever reason Anya was not banned, the person probably misclicked. That's my only assumption, unless they're completely unaware of what Anya is able to do. They went ahead and went with Isolde. At this point, I was like, okay, cool. I was a little concerned because I was like, I have to ban Anya. And they could have picked Rosen Seal, which would have been kind of difficult to deal with if she opened with her crystal barriers and stuff like that. Or crystal healing, rather. I'm not really concerned about the debuff negation. It's more the fact that she can passively heal with that crystal healing. But got rid of Christiane, got rid of Rosen Seal. Christiane, of course, has that aura that reduces magic damage and AoE damage. So it's all good on that front. I went ahead and went straight for Bright Summoner in this case. This kind of ensures that I can at least do some sort of strike first and follow up with an AoE pretty easily. My opponent goes ahead and gets rid of Sovereign the Ice Abyss, gets rid of Polyol, and grabs Lightbringer. Oh, the other reason why I also banned Christiane was because they only had 3 tanks, so this was good to ensure that they had, if they wanted a tank, they would need to pick one immediately. And from this box, if you're going 3-3, you're probably actually wanting to take a tank. So, all good on that front. Alright, let's see. I went ahead and banned their Sovereign the Ice Abyss. I also got rid of the Awakened One because obviously that can really shut down my ability to cross the map with her stupid little spellbounds. And I go ahead and grab a Kaya. So with this is really, so usually my opener is to grab, go Bright Summoner and just try to run in and try to do my best, the best I can. I can. Sorry, speaking is difficult. A Kaya will ensure that I have 2 extra spaces of movement, and I'll have a lot more a higher magic attack. This on top of that, because you can provide a 30% attack buff as opposed to the 20% that faction buffs provide. So with that, I lose Sword and Light and Shadow, and I lose Lena, and they go ahead and grab Ymir. Ymir is someone I'm always kind of terrified of because he was always a fantastic tank buster. He can self-res with Redeemers. You can't debuff him, and putting debuffs on him tends to actually, attempts to put debuffs on him tend to make him do more shenanigans. But we'll see how this goes. And then at this point I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and get rid of your remaining primary healers. I also did not want to get first turn Bright Summoner because I don't know if this person was a mage class or not. Also, if my opponent has Ymir, I definitely want to get rid of Salika because she can give Ymir a second self-res that can't really get removed. At this point, I go ahead and grab Aurelia, which I believe is our first time showing her on camera, at least on our side. We got Eshian here. They go ahead and ban Eshian. They go ahead and ban Awaken 1. They go ahead and grab Jace. At this point, I was like, all right, get rid of Audenkelmo, get rid of Grinshield. Grinshield's pretty durable, and Audenkelmo can throw out portals that can not only debuff me, but hinder my movements. Also, it does give additional mobility to the opposing side. And I'm completely fine with my opponents having another tank, and I don't care about crit negation anymore because I'm going to be using AoEs mostly. And Leon is honestly not that dangerous without any additional support. So there's not anything here that can actually give him additional mobility, so he can't one-turn me or anything like that. So I go ahead and grab Namiya at this point. I was actually running the clock at this point because this is my first time playing with this box, and I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted. There's a lot of options here, like Audenkelmo is very useful. Lucretia has some potential, especially now that her puppet can swap places with other allies besides just Lucretia. Mariondel is really just there if I really desperately needed additional span. And then I can't remember her name. 1 second. I think it's Precia. Sorry, not Precia. It's Patricia. She's actually kind of interesting because she can make it so all my units have a buff on them that when they get killed, they get the debuff from Patricia. And then Patricia can essentially just AoE our target from all the way across the map safely. She's a little harder to use because you do technically need a turn to set up with her. But once you get her going, she can just spam AoEs over and over again. But I went with Namiya because, one, it's a water map, so it's easy enough to get across. Also, with the additional mobility here, I was pretty confident that I didn't need anything extra. My opponent goes ahead and gets rid of Lucretia, gets rid of Patricia, and grabs Leon. So at this point, I was like, cool. I can either take a healer, or I can grab Audenkelmo and have even more mobility. So that's what we got. Alright, so we got Isolde, all exclusive steel mains. We got Ymir here with all of his exclusives and redeemers. We got Leon here with his AoE, chivalry, and his passive. Is this the first time we've had Ymir on camera? It might be. I usually don't show. He doesn't usually show up because he's usually on my losing matches, and those aren't really interesting to see. Because he just runs in and just kills everything, which is very different from what we have right now. Like, the biggest issue I had with my original box was the fact that I had, plenty of healing, plenty of tanking, but I only had like two attackers essentially, and if either my tank dies or either of my attackers die, I just don't have the tempo to keep up with my opponent. In this case, I have essentially 4 attackers. 5, Akaya can actually technically attack as well. But really, with AoEs, we kind of got all these characters. So yeah, Ymir's thing is, let's see, he increases damage dealt. He has shackles on him, which apparently has paragraphs of nonsense. The shackles reduces damage taken by 30%, and he is immune to all debuffs. When an immunity is triggered, he gets Radiant Surge, which increases his crit chance by 15%. can't be dispelled after taking action. If he has 4 or more stacks, he can immediately of Raging Surge, and he's in the danger zone. The shackles are removed, and he can immediately move and act again. And then, let's see, while not possessing Radiant Shackles, when entering battle, if the enemy's defense is greater than it or equal to its magic defense, this attack becomes magic. So that's what makes him dangerous, is he can just start doing magic damage. Which I didn't realize he did that. That probably is why he keeps wrecking my tanks. But yeah, essentially what he does is he purposely gets himself debuffs, breaks the shackle, and then just goes to town. He does have a way of giving himself a bunch of debuffs. So that's kind of how it works. Also, Redeemers get provided self-res as long as you don't have a debuff. So the only way you can prevent him from self-resing with Redeemers is with some sort of aura effect, like the portals or something along those lines. So yeah, he's just really, really dangerous. Lightbringer here brought Retribution, which is an AoE. Got 3C and Light Flow with Phalanxes. And over here, we got Virelia, I have Sky Archers, we got Heaven Sanction, 3C, and Strengthen. Bright Summoner here, all of her, we have her 3C, her secondary summon, and Holy Dragon Breath with Fairy Spirit Prophets. Akaya, I have Spider Demon Elves with pretty much all of her exclusives. She's got Blood of the Sheikah to move and act again, Wild Power, which lets her sacrifice a wolf spirit to buff everyone's attack and int by 30% and give 2 of mobility. And then, of course, we got her 3C down here, which can do some totem nonsense. Namiya here, Fairy Spirit Prophets with Coral Volley and 3C with Aim. And then Autumn Kelmo, I have Fighting Monks with 3C and then a bunch of our single targets. To be honest, I could have probably replaced Oracle from Beyond with something else, like Dark Hole, but I didn't even remember the swap it. I'm so used to being single target. Anyway, let's go ahead and set all this up, and let's see how this goes. So my opponent opens with just getting the tank set up. Oh yeah, I didn't even read Jace, did I? Sorry about that. Jace here, all of his exclusives with Fairy Spirit Prophets. Also, this week is where Jace's exclusive equipment has come out. I think all it really does is just make him deal more damage or something. Alright, so I go ahead and just move up with Kaya, do Blood of the Sheikah to move again, act again. She does have her exclusive, which will allow her to get 1 wolf for free. Otherwise, the only way to get wolves is by getting kills. So with this, I'm able to easily get set up here, and everyone has a ton of mobility. So yeah, so usually Bright Summoner can go all the way up to here, get the summon that appears here, and then move to 6 to here, and then hit essentially within this range with the 3 range attack. Now she can go all the way up to here, go to here, and I can literally go here and hit Isolde. So we got that set up for us. Of course, we also have Namiya here, who can easily cover the map now. Virelia can get to here, which is still not far enough, but we do have Autumn Kelma to help out. So, and with Autumn Kelma, I can move even further and get the portal set up further out. So my opponent is trying to spread out because I'm a coming. Oh, one other thing to talk about, which you can't see in the replay, is I am using Frigg as my Covenant now. So I'll talk more about what that does after the match. But essentially the idea is I have a lot more magic damage, or magic attack rather, at the cost of my physical attack and HP for the most part. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're all set up here. Unfortunately, the Sacred Unicorn just gets the faction buff, doesn't get the 30%, but that's completely fine. We're going to go ahead and move up and zap here. Does really good damage. And does all that. So I go ahead and move up and do Holy Recall just to try to throw out some passive helmet silences. Unfortunately, the first one got on Ymir, just giving him a free stack, which isn't a big deal. Right now, Isolde is only at like 30, 94 HP now, and I can definitely do plenty of AoE damage on top of doing extra damage with the Thunder Seal. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and just take a step back. AoE, kill Isolde. Get myself a free, another Wolfie. And apparently didn't want to scroll over. I immediately silenced Leon, which is fantastic, which means he can't put up Chivalry. So he can't do any self-healing. He's already partially hurt. And yeah, that puts us in a really good spot. So I've already killed one of their units. Obviously, Bright Summoner's dead at this point. Ymira's easily going to be able to kill her. So this is going to give him a bunch of stacks. It also heals him. Yeah, so he's back to full. He's unshackled, moves up, and just wrecks me. You can't even see the name of his move. Yeah, 65,000 damage. And then he moves, and then he kind of spreads out again, trying to avoid getting hit by everything. And then he gets reshackled. Alright. So yeah, with all that in mind, I was like, okay, all they have left now is Leon, and Leon's not going to be able to do anything besides try to kill the unicorn. So I just use this opportunity to go ahead and get some portals set up. So now I can go much further. Alright, I had first strike, thankfully. Wasn't enough to kill, but it definitely hurt him. And as you can see, my opponent's just trying to spread out here. But so remember the issue I had with Aurelia. So now I can do her move again, act again off this portal. And then I can move 2 steps from there. So I can easily get to here. But getting to here is close enough for me to hit everyone except for Jace. Alright. So here's the Heaven Sanction. Kills Leon. I picked Annihilate or whatever it's called for... yeah, there's a lot of things that go over here. So I did Eradicate, which is... It reduces my span of my AoEs, but it makes it so I cast it twice. But Heaven Sanction just still had 4 span, so I was able to stand here safely and hit everyone except for Jace. And the reason, the reduced span in exchange, though, is you get to double cast the spell, which does quite a bit of damage. And then on top of that, the 3C, after dealing damage with a skill, you'll deal fixed damage once equal to 2 times int to every enemy hit. And if the target's HP is not higher than 20%, this fixed damage will ignore immunity. So kind of bypasses all that good stuff. So with that, I killed Leon. I've heavily wounded a Lightbringer, and I brought Ymir down to almost killed. He still has his self-res, but that's completely okay. At this point, my opponent has no actions remaining, and I still have Namiya here. So the big thing here is I want to get some damage on Jace if I can. So let's see if we can make that happen. So we're going to do aim. Throw out our terrain here. Alright, so a few things. I think, let's see. So I have that helmet that increases AoE damage and skill damage. It looks, and aim gave me plus 10% damage as well. And then I have 30% attack, thanks to Akaya. And thanks to her special terrain here, she can move herself all the way to here and be within range to do a 3-span AoE to hit everyone, including Jace. So Jace has 14,000, yeah, about 14,500, give or take. And I did enough. And I kill Ymir in the process, so he self-reses. He does get some stacks, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And I go ahead and use my move again after that, just to take the portal back. So, Aurelia versus Ymir. Does get kill, but I also kill Ymir. And with that, my opponent gives up. So yeah. Everyone put in work. Everyone, yeah, 2 kills for Aurelia. Wait, 2 kills? How'd that work? There's 5 units. I guess I don't know. I guess it counted, I think it counted Ymir killing himself as not one of my kills. But in any case, as you can see, spread out I had 2 people to help initiate, and then everyone else did the work, and I was able to just wipe everything out, wipe everyone else out as quickly as possible. And sorry, speaking is difficult today. So yeah, I'm now tied. I'm at 50-50 win rate, which is great. I'm at 1648 points, and we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about covenants. So, covenant deployment. There it is. All right. So originally I had Thor, which honestly is not the best pick. It's the same issue as everything else, which is if you are a mixed box, you're just not going to be good at anything, and that's the situation for Thor. But unfortunately, he's kind of the most built. He was kind of the, he's the first Covenant, so he was like the most built for me. But switching to Frigg, I lose a chunk of HP, but my int goes up quite a bit. It goes up by about 30 points. I do lose a little bit of attack. About 17, actually about 27 points worth. But I do get increased magic defense, and I lose a little bit of skill, but that doesn't really matter. There's a few other options I could go. I also could go, who is this guy? Is this Balder? Yeah, I think it's Balder. Balder here does have increased intelligence, not as much as Frigg, but he at least also has the increased HP. But in exchange, you will lose a lot of magic defense and get a little extra regular defense in exchange. Obviously, my opponent was going with, I think this is Loki? Nope, not Loki. It's not Balder. Oh, is it Tyr? Yeah, it's Tyr. So, oops. My opponent was actually going Tyr, and Tyr's thing is, I have no idea. I actually don't know what the benefit of going Tyr is. I occasionally see Tyr, but I usually see, Balder, Frigg, or I believe this is Loki. Loki, of course, has the highest attack. If you're doing sort of tank push, you generally don't want to go Thor. You want to probably go this guy, who gives a lot more defense. You can also go this route and get more magic defense type situation, but of course here you get the most HP. But yeah, I'm going to be going Frigg from now on. That'll at least get me more intelligence. I'm not too concerned about the tankiness of my group anymore, because if I die, I die. There's not really much I can do about it. So far, first signs have been pretty good. Obviously, this was not against a purely meta box. I mean, it had meta units, but it was essentially a tank push. So there wasn't really much to worry about on that front. So we'll see how this works against other boxes that actually do rush as well, and kind of go from there. Anyway, I am the Depressed Eeyore. This was Langrisser Mobile Apex Season 19. I'll see you guys next time.